snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys, so I am here today to do one of my favourite types of videos to film, which is a book haul. As I told you guys before, I got an Amazon voucher for Christmas and I wasn't sure what I was going to spend it on, but I have been buying quite a few books with it, mainly on my Kindle, and then I also got a £35 cheque from my family, which I just paid in and then went straight to Waterstones and spent it. So yes, I got some physical books, some ebooks, and I'm going to show you guys them now, so let's get started. Okay, so first off, the ebooks that I have been buying. Mainly I've been buying these with my Amazon voucher, but a few of them I did buy earlier in the year and just haven't showed you guys yet, so I'm also going to show you them. So the first one that I have on my Kindle is Pawn of Prophecy, which is by David Eddings. This is the first one in the Belgariad series or trilogy. I'm not sure whether it's a series or a trilogy. This was recommended to me by a couple of you guys and also by my boyfriend's friend. I don't really know anything about it. I haven't read it and I didn't even read the blurb. I just picked it up because he always goes on about it. It's his favourite series. So I thought, why not give it a try? And I downloaded that. So maybe you guys know a little bit more about what it is to do with. I really don't have a clue. The next book that I downloaded was Thorns and Tangles, and that is by P.T. Hilton, who is a good friend of mine. Again, I will link his channel down below so you guys can go and check him out because he is a really, really lovely person. His videos are great and his book is really good as well. I've actually read this one. It's a novella and it's about two assassins and the trouble that they got up to. I would kind of call this a cross between Loch Lamora and between Throne of Glass, so it's kind of bridging the gap between YA fantasy and adult fantasy. I wouldn't know which one to put it into, but probably more towards the adult fantasy. It was really short, really quick to get through, really enjoyed it, and I ended up giving that one a 4 out of 5 stars, so well worth picking up. The next book that I ended up picking up was the first one in the Edge Chronicles, book 1 of the Quint saga. This is a really weird saga series because it's kind of 3 trilogies, but they were all published out of chronological order, so I've been told that one of the best places to start is with the Quint saga trilogy, so I am doing that. And the first one in that series is The Curse of the Gloam Glozer. I'm very excited. This is a middle grade children's fantasy series and it's got sky pirates in it, so sounds pretty promising. This one was recommended to me by Connor from Connor O'Brien and Sana from Inkbones Books, who again I will link down below so you can go and check out because they are wonderful. They were talking about this book and saying how wonderful it was, so I wanted to see what it's all about, and it's quite a short read, so hopefully I'll be able to get to this one not in the too far future, and that would be pretty awesome. And this one is by Paul Stewart and Chris Riddell, and it does have illustrations by Chris Riddell, which is really awesome because I love his illustration style. The next book was recommended multiple times on Lindsay from Lindsay Ray's channel, and I will link her again down below. This is Fire and Thorns, which is the first book in the Fire and Thorns series or trilogy by Ray Carson, and I have been seeing this book floating around on a lot of different booktubers channels, but Lindsay was most recent to recommend it to me and it sounds really interesting, so I'm very excited about it. One thing that I do know about this book is that it revolves around the story of a princess, and actually I think Lindsay mentioned that this book is really interesting because the main character has a large body type and everyone in the story sees her as fat and lazy and useless to begin with, and I assume that somehow she overcomes that, but I thought that was really interesting, and the moment that she said this was a character who had a different body shape, I was instantly hooked because no other books really have a main protagonist who isn't sort of a skinny female or male character off on a big adventure. This sounds original, and even if that isn't the focus of the book, it just sounded really interesting and she recommended it, so that's why I picked that one up. All of these booktubers have been making me buy so many books, but it is wonderful because even though I am not participating in the 0x16 challenge that everyone else is doing, it seems, I don't care about getting my TBR down to like 0 books. I like having a collection that I can choose from. But when I do count them, they are pretty crazy. So I'm trying to buy most of my books on Kindle at the moment as opposed to physical, unless I've already got them in physical edition. Of course, then I will continue the series in physical books. but if I manage to buy a load on my Kindle, it doesn't look as bad. So yeah, that's my main thing that I'm doing to kind of convince myself that I'm getting through the books, even if I'm not. So yeah. The next book, also recommended by Lindsay, is Written in Red, and this is by Anne Bishop. This sounds very interesting because I've heard a lot of people who have spoken about this book and who have said that they really enjoy this series and this story, and I believe this is a kind of paranormal or urban fantasy, I'm not sure which. I don't really read a lot of paranormal or urban fantasies. I haven't read very many. I tend to stick largely to epic and high fantasy because I know that I love them, but I really want to branch out a little bit this year and try out some other genres within fantasy, because obviously I love fantasy anyway. So I'm really intrigued by this. This is about a girl who can see the future when she cuts her skin, so it sounds really dark and creepy but cool. Very interested in this one. Have heard so many people talk about this series. I've seen it again floating on so many people's channels, and I just, why not? Why not get in on the sort of craziness that's going on and find out why so many people love this book. Anne Bishop is apparently a really good writer. I don't think I've ever read anything by her, but I'm very excited to join the club, and hopefully I will really love this book and enjoy it. So we shall see. The next book that I ended up picking up was actually Changeless, and this is the second one in the Parasol Protectorate series by Gail Carriger. I really wasn't sure what to expect going into Soulless, which was the first one. I hauled that in my last haul video, my Christmas one, because Sana and Giselle and a few other people were recommending it, and I really wanted to get in on the action and find out what it was all about. Even Michael from Bitten by a Radioactive Book, he recommended it as well. So yeah, I definitely wanted to pick this series up, but I had no idea what it was about, and I just kind of knew it was set in an alternate history of London, and yeah, didn't know any more about it. I ended up really enjoying the first book, Soulless, and so instantly once I finished it, which was only last night, I went straight away and I bought the second one, Changeless, and I'm very excited to continue on with this series because there are a couple of books in this series, and I believe there's a sort of second series as well, and I have the first book in the second series, which was just coincidence. I didn't know I had it, I just had it somehow. So I'm really excited to get on with it, and then I believe there is another book that comes out later this year in the series, so I want to try and read a lot of these books at least before that comes out, and then hopefully when that comes out I'll be really excited for it and I will get a hold of it, so that would be awesome. Okay, now moving on to the physical books that I picked up today, and I kind of went into Waterstones just by chance because I had gone and paid in my check and I wanted to just see if there was anything that would spark my interest, and I came away with 5 books, which was really awesome, and one of them was so exciting, so I'm going to show you guys those now. So the first book that I found in Waterstones that I really wanted to get my hands on was one that is actually the third one in the series. This is Heir of Novron, which is the third bind-up of the Rieria Revelations. There are 6 books, but they're all bound into 2 books in one bind-up. This series is really entertaining. I've only read the first 2 in the first bind-up. I do have the second bind-up, which is Rise of Empire, and this is the third, and I'm super excited about these books because we're going to be buddy reading them, and this one is happening in the month of January. If you've watched my TBR, then you will know that I'm going to read this in the month of January, somewhere around the last week, I believe. And then in February, we plan on buddy reading this one, Heir of Novron, and so I had to pick it up. So I'm super excited. These look really beautiful on the shelf together. Unfortunately, my first one doesn't actually match these 2, but it's not too far different, so I'm just going to have one non-matching cover, which is annoying, but I can deal with it. These 2 are super exciting, and I love the colour of this cover. Just the colour that they use at the bottom here, and also the colour on this one. They just look stunning, and the images I'm not a huge fan of. They're just kind of okay representations of the characters, but the colours that they use I think are beautiful, and they make these books really pretty on the shelf. I have been meaning to pick up this book for a while. This is The Red Knight by Miles Cameron, and I believe that this was Michael from Bitten by a Radioactive Books' best book of the year for 2013, which is an incredible achievement because he reads a lot. And it looks really cool. It's got a dragon on the front. I've been eyeing this book up for like months, literally months, and I just haven't got around to picking it up yet. But when I saw this and I had a little bit of spare money after Christmas, I just wanted it. So, and actually it's huge, like it's a big book, so it's worth the money, I think. Yeah, I was so excited by this. I really don't know what it is about, but it does have a dragon on the front, which is amazing. Dragons are really cool, and these dragons look pretty scary and intense. So I believe that this is about a red knight who basically commands an army, and they have to fight the wild beasts of the land, who I assume are kind of like dragons, but on the back it's calling them wyverns. Yes, they're wyverns, not dragons. But it sounds really interesting. It says that he hires out his band to protect this abbey full of nuns, and then it leads into a full-scale war with the wilds and stuff. So, sounds really interesting. Again, this cover I just absolutely love. Some really great covers coming out in fantasy now. I don't know if it's always been that way, but I feel like in the last couple of years, the covers on fantasy designs have been so highly improved, and some of them, especially like the newer releases, are just really, really stunningly beautiful. I would pay just to have a print of these covers because they are super gorgeous, and it's not just these covers, like loads of fantasy covers are getting better. Of course, we still have a few that are a bit crap, but hopefully publishers are beginning to realise that the cover really does sell, and if you have a good cover, then yeah. One thing I do want to mention, which isn't actually a book that I picked up, but it is on the same theme as covers, is Cover Chat. That will be returning, I believe, next week. That is my plan. I have a couple of ideas of things that I would like to talk to you guys about, and I'm super excited because I found some covers in Waterstones that were utterly stunning, and I just want to show them off to you guys, and I have a whole plan of what I'm going to do. So yeah, that will be happening next week as far as I see, unless anything huge comes up, but that should be happening, and I'm really excited to relaunch Cover Chat next week. So the next two books are actually by the same author, and it's actually an author whom I've never read before, so to pick up two books when I already have two of his books and I still haven't read any of them is a bit weird, you may think. That is Guy Gavriel Kay. Guy Gavriel Kay has been recommended to me about 1 million times on my channel by various different people, and these two books were the two books that everyone recommended me. I actually own two of his books already. I own Under Heaven, which I have with me, and then I also own Jezebel, which is back at home, and I don't have that one with me. All of the covers on these, I absolutely love these covers. I think they are so gorgeous. They are designed by Larry Rostand, and they are just absolutely stunning. They all match so beautifully. Can't wait. I don't know a thing about them, but Guy Gavriel Kay is amazing. Apparently, so many people, including authors, really, really highly rate his work and think he is a master. So clearly there's something wrong with me that I've not read his books yet, and I'm determined that now that I have 4 of his books, I will definitely get to them. I believe they're all standalones. I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he largely writes standalones, which is really interesting because I haven't really read many standalones in fantasy, and when I do, I tend to judge them quite harshly unless they're really, really well put together, because I do love the big epic series. But these books are pretty chunky and very exciting they look, so yeah, let's get into them. This one is called The Lions of Al-Rassan, and quite a few people have recommended this one particularly to me, so I'm just going to read you guys a little bit off of the back of it. It says, over the centuries, the once stern rulers of Al-Rassan have been seduced by sensuous pleasures. Now King Al-Malik of Qartaida is on the ascendancy, adding city after city to his realm, aided by his friend and advisor, the notorious Ammar ibn Kaharin, poet, diplomat, soldier, until a summer day of savage brutality changes their relationship forever. Meanwhile, in the north, the Jadet's most celebrated and feared military leader, Rodrigo Belmonte, and Ammar meet. Sharing the interwoven fate of both men is Jaheen, the beautiful, accomplished court physician whose own skills play an increasing role as Al-Rassan is swept to the brink of holy war and beyond. In a magnificent setting hauntingly evocative of medieval Spain, which is really cool because I've never read anything set in Spain as far as I know, The Lions of Al-Rassan is both a brilliant adventure and deeply moving story of love, divided loyalties, and what happens to men and women when hardening beliefs begin to remake or destroy a world. So it sounds like pretty deep. It sounds like there's going to be a lot going on. I really like the character names. I think they sound exotic, and obviously if it's set in Spain then that's a good thing. They do sound like Spanish names, and that's cool. I'm very excited for this one. I don't know why, because, you know, even the cover, even the blurb doesn't tell you that much about what's going on, except there's kind of a big war on. But I'm really, really highly anticipating loving these. I just can tell that I think I will love these. I think Brandon Sanderson really, really highly rates Guy Gavriel Kay, and a couple of other authors whom I really enjoy as well have said that he's amazing, so clearly I need to read this book, and yeah, this is one that I picked up, very excited for, can't wait. And then we have Tigana, which is basically like amazing according to everyone. It says on the back that Tigana is the internationally celebrated epic of a country struggling to be free. It is the tale of people so cursed by dark sorceries of the tyrant king Brandon that even the very name of their once beautiful home cannot be spoken or remembered. But years after their homeland's devastation, a handful of men and women set in motion a dangerous crusade to overthrow their conquerors and bring back to the world the lost brightness of an obliterated name, Tigana. Against the magnificently realised backdrop of a world both sensuous and brutal, this masterful novel of passionate people pursuing their dream is breathtaking in its vision and changes forever the boundaries of fantasy fiction. And this is a stonkingly huge book. It's 800 odd pages, but the writing is pretty titchy, so it's pretty big. Really excited about this one. I believe that everyone says this is one of his best works, so highly anticipating loving this and can't wait for it. So that's that one. The final book, it stands to reason, is the signed copy of a book that I found, and this made me incredibly happy just because I was not expecting it. And I found Mitosis by Brandon Sanderson, signed in Waterstones. See, signed by the author. This is the second signed book I've found in like as many weeks, and there is the signature for you all to see. Super exciting, I'm sure you will all agree. I do actually own Mitosis already in an ebook format, but I don't own the physical edition, so as soon as I saw this physical edition signed by the author, another of the beautiful hardbacks that have the hardback printed on, not just as a dust jacket, very similar to The Slow Regard of Silent Things by Patrick Rothfuss, I just thought, you know what, it's destiny, it's fate. I needed this book, I hadn't got it in my collection, it looks beautiful, and now I have it. So yes, super excited about this. Even though I've already read it and really enjoyed it, I'm very happy to have a signed copy of a book by Sanderson at last, because I've never had a signed Sanderson book. My first ever signed book was the one by Rothfuss, which we got a couple of weeks ago. So now I have two signed books, and one of them is a Sanderson one and one of them is a Rothfuss one, who are both amazing authors. So yeah, highly excited about this one. So those are all of the books that I ended up picking up in the last week or two since I did my Christmas book haul. So let me know if there are any of these that you particularly want me to read very soon, because I'm planning at the moment which books I'm going to be putting into my February, March and April TBRs. Some of them I might do as buddy reads, so if any of you guys are very interested in doing buddy reads, then definitely let me know, and that would be really great because I'm always excited for buddy reading and read-alongs. Currently, we are still doing the Gardens of the Moon read-along, which again, I will put the link down below if you want to come and join us for that. It's really exciting. I'm really loving the book so far. Highly, highly recommend you guys go and check it out. So if you want to take part in that, then please feel free. I'm excited to be back at uni. I'm excited to have a really awesome reading year, and yes, I probably won't be buying too many books except on my Kindle maybe now and then in the coming months, just because I want to read all the books I have, not just buy a load and never read them. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you all very soon. Bye! Me and you gonna have a little